안녕하세요. 신사숙녀 여러분. 제 이름은 제임스입니다. 오늘 제가 여러분들께 수학 수업을 짧게 할 예정입니다. 특히 제가 제일 좋아하는 퍼센트 계산하는 방법을 가르칠 것입니다. 그럼 25의 2%를 계산해 봅시다. 먼저 25 곱하기 100 분의 1을 합니다. 그러면 100 분의 50, 즉 0.5입니다. 이해하셨나요? 질문 있나요? 감사합니다. 숙제 잘해오세요. 다음 시간에 만납시다. So, if this is the first time in your entire life that you've ever found yourself listening to an instructor with absolutely no idea what is going on whatsoever, then I am very jealous of you. For the rest of us, though, I'm sure you can relate with at least one past experience during which time you felt completely lost while listening to a lecture, or perhaps during which time you felt completely overwhelmed by the material you were expected to know for an upcoming exam. Maybe you can recall a time even during which you felt so completely defeated by the material before you that it wouldn't have made one bit of difference whether your teacher had decided to teach that material in English or in Spanish or in Swahili or in Korean because you just weren't going to get it anyway. When I reflect on my own run-ins with times like these, none continue to haunt me so much as the time I spent in calculus-based physics. It still amazes me how clearly I can recall my desire in that class to simply give up on the learning process altogether. Now, I did succeed in that class, and I'd like to take all of the credit for that accomplishment, but I actually attribute much of my academic achievement to the fact that as challenging as my learning environment was, it was also full, it was replete with support services and resources that maximized my ability to be successful. These included tutoring and academic coaching services, supplemental instruction programming, and even access to a math learning center and 24/7 library facility. When I reflect on services like these, I wonder if there are any of you here today who also have taken advantage of those kind of resources when you've struggled in school. Moreover, I wonder if there are any of you here today who even take services like these for granted as a typical part of your contemporary educational experience. I'd like you to consider the kind of academic success you would have in life if none of those support services were or ever had been available to you. Where would you be today if you couldn't stay after school for help because missing the bus meant that you wouldn't have a ride home tonight? Where would you be today if you couldn't afford a tutor, or if getting a smartphone or a laptop to help you with your homework assignments simply wasn't an option? Where would you be today if you had to study while also babysitting your younger siblings because your parents had to work 3 jobs each just to cover the cost of your housing for your family and to put food on the table? I ask you, where would you be today if, while sitting in the nights and studying, you had to listen to the background music of gunfire and fighting in the parking lots next to your home? If you had to cross the paths of gang members on the way to the school bus each morning, if you had to walk back and forth to school each day from a homeless shelter because your mom was unemployed and your father had passed away, where would you be today if missing a day of school meant that you would not eat because you could not afford food outside of what the school could provide to you for free? You may think that the context of learning I'm describing for you right now speaks to the lives of children growing up somewhere in the third world, perhaps in some country that you've never heard of. And I would agree that my words may speak to those circumstances, but those are not the circumstances that have brought me here today. No, the context of learning that I just described, the stories that I told, these are the stories of children growing up in a much different place, a land for the free, a place of wealth and prosperity and opportunity. These are the stories of children growing up in the urban centers of our cities and our state, in our nation. Many of these children are growing up and going to school just a 7-minute drive down the hill from this theater. This year, it has been my highest honor to not only hear these stories, but also to meet and to help empower some of the students who own them. I've been working with inner city middle school students, and we've been trying to address one central problem. You see, middle school students in the school where I work are failing to do well in mathematics, and it's pretty severe. If you look at just the first quarter's interim grade reports for my students, in just the first month and a half of school, 40.5% of our students were failing their grade. And this was shocking for me to see, but I felt even more overwhelmed when I realized that this isn't just an isolated problem in the school that I've been working with. This is a problem statewide and beyond, and I can show you what I'm talking about. If you look at this graph, you'll see the blue chart. Oh, good, you can see it. The blue chart, the blue bar right there represents the urban district that I've been working in, and the red bar represents urban districts like it across the state of Ohio. This data comes from the Ohio Department of Education, by the way. And if you compare those two bars to that yellow bar there, you can see the difference in performance between urban districts and the state averages, which include urban, suburban, and rural districts combined. And you can see, especially here in mathematics, there's almost a 30% discrepancy between the performance of students in the urban district and the averages of the state. Now, if you compare this to the suburban schools, you see the exact opposite trend. This blue bars here represent a suburban district just about 10 minutes west of my school. And the red bars represent the suburban schools like it across the state. And again, you can see the exact opposite trend, and in mathematics, students are doing much better than state averages. So why are students not performing well in mathematics in the urban districts, and why is it so much more so in mathematics than in other subject areas? That's been the focus of my time in the inner city this year. And when you have access to this kind of data, and when you have the concomitant opportunity to work alongside those same students who are producing this data in a one-on-one setting, you start to realize that the scope of this problem is so much bigger than something that one teacher alone could solve in the time that they have in the classroom with their students. In fact, if I had time to break this data down with you in great detail today, you would see that many of our students are coming to school for 7th grade, but they're performing with the mathematical skill set of a 2nd or 3rd grade student. And so in the same way that my 7th grade math lesson today was well explained and well delivered, but likely was not understood here, it doesn't matter only the quality of teaching you receive if you're not prepared to receive that instruction in the first place. And so my mission this year has been to provide support services to students in the inner city who need them. And I want to show you what's happened in our school by making these services available. I want to start by showing you what's become of the students in our school who've elected not to participate in these services. So this graph attempts to show you data. It's a GPA loss or gain. So we looked at the first quarter in mathematics and the second quarter in mathematics, and we wanted to see, are the students getting better or are they getting worse? And as you can see, as is consistent with state trends and with national trends. In fact, students are not doing well in mathematics. These students who did not participate in supplemental instruction lost, they lost in their GPA over half a GPA point. And now I want to show you what's become of students in our program. Again, I said this is a mathematics supplemental instruction program. It's one that we've designed to mirror the same support services that are available in the university setting. We've tried to be innovative and create a program that follows the same curriculum as that which our students are pursuing normally. It's available outside of class, but also during school hours, so that transportation isn't an issue. It's free to the students who participate. They meet in small groups. They're able to answer questions and begin filling in the gaps in their technical skill sets. And you can see that these students have made almost half a GPA point of gain in the last 2 quarters. And all we did in this scenario is give students the opportunity to get help when they wanted it. We made access for extra help. That's it. The more I've learned and the more I've seen, the more I've come to believe in the power that education holds to shape every aspect of the world we live in. And I would go so far as to say that beyond the gender with which we identify and the religion that we practice, the race and the sexual orientation and the socioeconomic status with which we are born, it is the level of educational attainment that we achieve as both individuals and as a society that will determine the lot that we find in life. Horace Mann said something similar. He said, "Education, then, beyond all other devices of human origin, is the great equalizer of the conditions of men, the balance wheel of the social machinery." If you have not already done so, I challenge each of you here today to begin thinking of the ways in which you yourself can begin stepping across those boundaries that are separating you from students in the inner cities nearby, ways in which you can begin redefining the world around you for the better and balancing our own social machinery. If you're a business leader, what supports do you have available for the urban districts close by you? If you're a college student or a professor, what knowledge and time can you share with those who need it? The solution here is so simple. Our urban students need support. They need people like you and people like me to stop what we're doing for an hour each week and to help them catch back up where they've fallen so far behind. I know that my time before all of you is growing short, and so I'll leave you with just one final quote. It's from John Dewey, and he said, "Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself." And I wonder what would happen in our world. I wonder what our life would be like in this world if we all recognized that education is life itself, and if we all bound together to breathe that life into those of us who are slowly dying without it. Thank you.